This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about.
You all ready for this?
This is a sham.
No. Y'all, just stop.
Get real.
Welcome to DBL. I'm Erica, holding space for our girl Tori, who will be back here on Monday. So for the first time, parents of a school shooter are being held to account criminally. Jennifer and James Cromley are facing separate trials and are each accused of involuntary manslaughter for failing to prevent their son's deadly rampage at a Michigan school that left 4 dead and 7 wounded in 2021. Jennifer Cromley's trial is first, and yesterday she testified that it was her husband's responsibility to make sure that the gun that they bought their son was safely stored. She also testified that her son had never asked for professional help with mental health issues. That's despite what prosecutors said was written in her son's journal. Take a look.
The shooter writes, "I have zero help," as you can see on the wall, "for my mental problems, and it's causing me to shoot up the school." In this one, the shooter writes, "I want help, but my parents don't listen to me, and I can't get any help." Shooter writes, "My parents won't listen to me about help or therapist."
Well, during that testimony, Jennifer lowered her head into her hands and began to cry. She also testified about if she missed other warning signs, and here's what she had to say about that.
Of course, I look back after this all happened, and I've asked myself if I would have done anything differently, and I wouldn't have.
If you could change what happened, would you?
Oh, absolutely. I wish he would have killed us instead.
So what do you all make of her testimony? Jeff, I want to start with you because you often talk about, when you know there's a school shooter, you know someone's guilty, that justice should be very swift.
Yes.
What do you think about holding the parents accountable in this way?
I think they should, and stop me if I go on too long, because it's things that I'm passionate about, I tend to ramble and go on and on about. But I definitely think in this case, the parents should be accountable. There should be a trial in every situation for the parents. As for the shooter, I think that kid should be put to death already. He should be dead. Look at the picture of that town. How many people that affected. 4 families are forever shattered because of that kid. There was warning signs. The parents, look at that.
He was giving the warning signs.
He was giving the warning signs. Look how many people that affected. Look at that.
Yeah.
And no one should be held accountable for this. Where's the deterrent? We're not going to switch any of our laws to help any of these situations. There needs to be some sort of justice and deterrent for parents like this. My child, and I'll let you in on my home life, my child, when he gets nervous, I have like a little tick where I move my leg all the time. When he's thinking about things and he's learning spelling and math and he's got a lot on his plate right now, he twirls his hair. And he tends to do that. And we broke him of that habit. Like, Lawson, squeeze a ball or don't do this. And he was broken of that habit. Now things are getting a little tougher for him in school. I got a letter from his school 2 days ago saying, "Hey, just a heads up, Lawson's twirling his hair again. Just want you to be aware. We're going through some harder things." And I know that's a thing. So we have to tell him, "All right, Lawson, what's going on? We have to have a talk with him." That's for twirling your hair. Right. We got a letter from the school. These parents aren't paying attention to the school or the letters that he's writing, or the kid himself saying he needs help, but now we're not going to have them responsible.
Well, that's a scary thing,
yeah,
Jeff.
Sorry.
No, stop, man. No,
yeah.
You're speaking because you can see this. We can all feel this around us at all times because there's so many people that are armed. But sadly, Jeff, the deterrents worked. He was in school that morning because the school was like, he's writing some weird stuff, bloodbaths and such. The mother was in school the morning of the shooting.
And she also bought him that gun.
No, it needs to be said. It needs to be said. And here's the problem, Steph, and I'd like to hear your thoughts on this. I definitely agree, and I'm actually happy that parents are finally being held accountable, because while you're busy having an affair with your hot firefighter boyfriend, your son is calling out for help. He's writing out in help, and you did not help him, which is horrible. And the only issue that we might run into, Jeff, with this, and Steph, I'd love your thoughts on this, is he's being charged as an adult, as he should be.
Well, the son has been sentenced to life without parole.
Because he pled guilty.
Yeah, so he was charged as an adult.
Yes,
right?
I just want to
no, it needs to be said. Thank you. But then can you go after the parents if he's not being charged as a minor? Because if you can go after him, even though he's being charged as an adult, if I commit a crime, can you go to South Carolina and arrest my mama?
Well, if your mama is an accessory to said crime, then absolutely. And I think that's what we're saying. You have someone who has severe mental health issues, is actually crying out for help, has talked about seeing visions and hallucinations of different things, and your idea is to give someone who doesn't even have full development of their brain at 15 years old a gun? Like that. So you gave a gun to someone who has said that they are having mental health issues and hallucinations.
Right.
You're an accessory.
Absolutely.
I don't care how old that person is.
What do you think, Steph?
Oh, I agree with all of you. I feel like the punishment needs to come from somewhere. Something needs to change in this country because we're telling these stories all the time. For years, like the 7 years I've been here, I've heard this at least, once every other week?
Dozens.
So something needs to be done. Someone needs to be held accountable. And I understand that this child at the time has, and still will have, I'm sure, mental health issues. They need a lot of help. But the fact that they were living under their parents' roof, that the fact that the parents bought them the gun, the fact that they've written multiple diary entries, they've taken drawings into school. And I agree with Jeff, and I know it's true. My sister's child, my sister gets a report every day. What they've eaten, what they've done, if anything happened, if they fell over, if there was a fight at school. She gets a full-on report. She knows exactly what's going on every single day. So I do not believe this mother for one instance that she had absolutely no clue and she's living in cloud cuckoo land. She's clearly only so self-absorbed, and the affair that she's having or whatever else is going on, I think she should be punished. More needs to be done. Otherwise, where is the deterrent for anyone?
Respond to that firefighter's text messages, but not her son. Well, I do want to say this really quickly, Erica, because it needs to be said. We live in a big country, and major cities, guns are like, what are you doing with a gun? But in a lot of parts of the country, you know, grandpa has a shotgun. It's not a big deal. So, and this was in rural Michigan, and so the idea of buying your kid a gun isn't as crazy there. I'm just saying, like, culturally for that area.
Let me say this.
That's all I'm saying.
You're right. That is different culturally.
Right.
The responsibility is the same wherever you live.
Yes,
exactly.
absolutely.
Right. I'm not going to litigate whether it's appropriate to buy your child a gun or not.
Right.
I mean, people are going to have their ideas on it. I am very honest about the fact that I am a responsible gun owner. I understand that people have feelings about that. We're all entitled to our feelings.
Yes.
But when it comes to giving someone access to a deadly weapon when you know that they have mental health issues, then that's you just not wanting to be a parent. And I'm really sick of people just up and deciding that parenting is a choice. It's not a choice. If you lay down and you had a child with someone, then you are responsible for that human being. And more people need to think about that before they decide that it's just their whatever right to do that, because your rights are now infringing on the rest of us.
Right.
Coming up on DBL, a mom gets banned from her kid's school pickup area for promoting her OnlyFans account on her car. Do you agree with the school's decision? And our interview with celebrity chef Andrew Zimmer, how he's working to raise money for kids during Super Bowl weekend.
It's literally child abuse. If they are crying out for help, if you had a physical injury on your arm's cut, whatever, and then that child was left and then it got infected in that time, you would be charged with child abuse.
Right.
When you were caught, you would.
Negligent.
So because you can't see what's going on in this kid's mind, but everyone seems to be aware.
Yeah,
the parents, the school, the
It
kids.
seemed like neglect, and honestly,
It is neglect.
Until Erica said he was 15, it didn't hit me. Looking at that, just the writing, he's writing
Help. He wrote help.
Yeah,
Like,
but just,
in giant letters.
Honestly, the sentence structure was probably second or third grade writing level. It seemed like this kid needed help.
As opposed to 15, I didn't even look at that.
Did you even realize he was
I didn't
15?
realize
Like,
that.
there were letters that seemed to be backwards. I mean, the handwriting was, like, very rudimentary.
Right.
It just seems
It's
like this is a
terrible.
child that was just, like, left to grow up on its own.
And
almost.
when in reality he should be having extra attention, it seems like, is what you're saying.
Right,
Not
yes.
negligent attention.
Well, exactly. Like we
Yeah.
said, the mother was having an affair, and like you said, Al, she's got time to be secretive, to go have an affair, to meet up with someone, to message them. She's got all that time, but she has no time to help her son, who is literally screaming
Obviously
for
she didn't
help.
care. Right. Obviously they didn't care as parents, and that responsibility falls on them. in turn, they should be charged as well.
I feel like every case is different. Obviously, there are some cases where the parent didn't buy a gun, where they've got it from someone else, where the children have gone off and done something. They've been like, "What? Where? Who is this person? I have no idea." But in this case, there is no argument.
I will say one thing with a lot of the school shooters. Obviously, I can't say all of them, but it does seem like a lot of them had manifestos online.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like it just came like he's an honor student. They're like, you know.
There is that.
Welcome back to DBL. A Florida mom says she is no longer allowed to drop her kids off at their private Christian prep school, and it's all because of her decal on her car. The mom says the school had a problem with the sticker promoting her OnlyFans page, which contains a website linked to adult content. Now the mom has to drop her kids off away from the school, and the kids have to cross a busy street to get there. So what do you all think of this? Is this fair? Al, you're a former teacher.
Yes.
You're also a comedian.
Yes.
What do you think about this?
Erica, I have never had a story where I've gotten in the morning and thought about it all morning. Usually I have my point of view. This one is a tough one, but I think weirdly I'm going to have to side with the school just because there are kids there. Kids are obviously very internet savvy, and that can lead them directly to pornographic content. Because I kept going back and forth. I was like, well, you can say that's bad for the kids, but what if she had an advertisement for Budweiser? Or, you know, some kind of alcohol or legal marijuana if it is in that state. Would that be okay? But I think anytime kids are there, they are minors, and as adults, we have a responsibility to protect them. But I thought about this.
Ooh, I thought you were going to go the other way.
No, I thought about it.
Erica's going the other way. All right, let me give mine. I thought I was going to be left on an island, so I'll just tell you my point of view. I definitely think, I love how we ended with, and they have to cross a busy street. Like, no, well, then let the porn into the school. Yeah. So, listen, it's a private school. They're allowed to make up the rules that they want. If this was public, maybe it'd be a little different. But I have to sit up here, and society has corrected culture now with gender identification, and if you use the wrong thing, if you misgender someone, you're in big trouble, right? So you have to adjust with society. If I say, oh, that person's homeless, I get corrected and say, they're mishoused. If I say unhoused, right, see, I'm still learning. But if I say that person's hungry, they're food insecure.
Right.
I have to follow all these rules that I don't know why they make sense. You can't say a child's hungry anymore. I don't know. But you're allowed to walk around advertising your pornographic website in front of my children? I don't think so.
Well, I don't know what you would have had me say, Jeff, but I'm going to tell you what I think. And I think this is another example of a parent exploiting their child. This woman clearly is a marketing genius, because you know that people are going to have an issue with you having a link to an OnlyFans page. If you're doing that and you don't have children, and I'm not saying that moms can't have OnlyFans pages, I'm not saying mothers can't do adult content, but I'm saying that it appears to me in this internet society that this was done as a marketing ploy, and it's at the expense of her children. Because had she not done this, and she knows she has to drop off her children, knowing it is not okay under any circumstances to advertise adult content on school grounds ever in the history of ever, and you're gonna go viral for that at the expense of your children. So I'm sure that she's gotten a lot of people who have gone to her website. I'm sure she's probably made a lot of money, and I'm sure it was probably an effective marketing tool. But ask her children in a few years how that effective marketing tool was at their expense and how they feel about that.
I was going to ask them, literally, like, not in a few years. Ask them now this week. I guarantee they will be getting bullied. They'll be getting, I remember
pictures of their mother sent to them.
Oh, I remember there was a teacher at my high school, and there was pictures all over the bathrooms, printouts of things that were from a previous life, everywhere. she left the school, and the teacher had an awful time. Like, her life was ruined. And this is pre-internet.
Wow.
This is, well, obviously we had an internet, but not like we do now, social media, so on and so forth, But oh my gosh, I can't imagine the bullying and what the repercussions of that will be because of her wanting to get a bit more of a paycheck. Wow. Never mind in a few years, ask them literally this week, ask them next week, let's see what story we're telling then. Seriously, because that can really harm children.
Yeah. And apologies to my co-hosts here.
Yeah,
great
points. Appreciate that. We'll be right back.
Welcome back. Andrew Zimmer is best known for eating the world's most bizarre foods. And earlier, we talked with him about how he's working to raise money for kids during Super Bowl weekend. Check it out.
Please welcome to DBL, Andrew Zimmer.
Hello, everyone. Let's get to it. Taste of the NFL celebrates food and football, two of my favorites. So I have to know, what's on your menu for the big game? After traveling the world and have so much on his plate, what do you eat?
Well, I tend to do the very traditional, invite a lot of friends over to the house. I segment things into categories. I think it's very important that you have something in every category. I like to roast something, whether it's a fresh ham, a turkey, a roast beef, and let people slice and serve their own sandwiches. You have to do some kind of chicken wing. We have many recipes on my website. We have so many ideas for different soups and stews, and you should have something that goes into a mug. It's typically chili in most of the country come Super Bowl time. You have to have something in the chip and dip category. So we've bundled different things at andrewzimmern.com. You can actually plug in tailgating, Super Bowl, anything into the search, and you get tons of great recipes.
Okay. Well, you're known for trying new and sometimes bizarre foods. So any weird foods we should add to our menu for Super Bowl?
Well, I think one person's weird is another person's wonderful. In some parts of the country, oyster chowder in a big pot on the stove would be a very standard sort of thing.
Yes.
I live in Minnesota. It's not a very standard sort of thing. I don't think the Super Bowl time is a good place to introduce the kids to frogs' legs, right? It's the National Food Day. I mean, for decades, Thanksgiving was the biggest food day in America. Super Bowl Sunday eclipsed that about 9 years ago. It is our biggest food day, so there is no better time to remind people that there is a very large percentage of Americans who don't know where their next meal is coming from.
I'm looking above your name in Beaver Creek, Colorado. You're here in Colorado with us. So you know about some snow, and apparently snow is going to be coming to Denver this weekend. So I'm wondering, do you have any like good comfort dishes that I could try this weekend and then pretend like I came up with them?
Yeah, tons of them. I'm actually at a food and wine event here in Beaver Creek, and then flying out to Las Vegas next Wednesday. And I'm serving black bean chili at my event at Taste of the NFL. It's a very special chili. We start with whole pork shoulder and chop it up and braise that with beans from scratch. We don't open a can, although if it's easier for someone to open a can, so be it.
I'll
I
be
think at
opening
this
a
time
can.
of year, if you're using real whole muscle and you're making something that's a braised, meat in a pot, meal in a bowl type of dish, you can't go wrong, whether it's seafood, pork, chicken adobo, you name it. I endorse it. I'm big on soups and stews.
Yes.
And forage for some mushrooms in your background there. Maybe throw those in the stew as well.
That's actually my house, and on the hill behind me is where all the ramps are, and we get lots of mushrooms. The dogs find them every year.
Wow. See? I wasn't lying. So we got to get to this. You've been working with the Taste of the NFL for over 20 years now. That's great. What do you love working with them the most? What do you like the most about it?
I think the mission is very important. Statistically, we can eliminate childhood hunger in America. It costs about $17 billion a year. That's a rounding error when it comes to our federal government budget. 0.0027. The idea that anyone is still for keeping children hungry, as I said before, is a genocidal choice because it disproportionately affects children of color and female children of color. So I mean, it's a triple whammy there of horrific proportions. Gen Youth specifically aims to end childhood hunger, student hunger. And that's a very important distinction because we have the distribution systems, schools that we're already delivering foods to. So if we can get some equipment in there and start cooking meals and allow kids to participate in meal selection for free, 3 meals a day, and 12 months a year, by the way, 365 days. I think that is the right choice. The America that I know and love would find it abhorrent that any child in the greatest country in the history of civilization would ever go hungry.
Well said, yes.
I think Gen Youth is doing incredible work. And I love working with them.
You as well, Andrew. Thank you. Honestly, we wish we could talk to you longer. We appreciate you. And to our viewers, if you'd like to get more information or to donate to Gen Youth, visit tasteofthenfl.com. Well done.
That's really great. Thank
you again. Thank you.
Thank you.
This February, enter the Sandals Blue Valentine giveaway to win an all-inclusive vacation to the brand new Sandals St. Vincent and the Grenadines or any Sandals resort of your choice. Watch DBL every day for a word of the day. Then enter at dailyblastlive.com/sandals for your chance to win a 4-day, 3-night escape for 2. The winner will be announced on DBL February 28th. Today's Sandals word of the day is sand. Sand. Welcome back to DBL. We love sharing your comments, and it's all about OnlyFans. Surprise, surprise. Stacy says the school did the right thing, especially since it's a private school. Mike said, I'm tired of everyone being so offended by everything. It's a quick drop-off or pickup. No harm done. Derek says kids are expensive, so I don't blame her. I support the hustle. Derek, here's the thing. I want to be very clear. I support the hustle too, okay? I don't kink shame. I'm not going to yuck your yum. If you like it, I love it. But that is not for school property. Period, point blank.
No yuck and yummy at school.
Look, Erica, how do you expect us to have a conversation after you drop a phrase like that? That's going to be the last thing I think about when my head hits the pillow tonight. It's like, yuck, you're yum. I never thought about that. That's, I mean.
What were you doing before you went to bed?
Yes, there's no kink shaming, but it's your kid. And, you know, they have to, you're dropping them off in this place where now all the kids in there know that their mom is on OnlyFans. We're not shaming, but we don't go to school with those kids. So
also, we're adults. We're not going to be bullying and picking them, sending them the horrible messages on social media that could lead to God knows what.
Absolutely. I will. I'll be doing that.
Jeff is on it
every day. We'll see you on Monday.